Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we will bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business. Hello and welcome to the Energy Outlook Live. My name is Wisdom Chap Jumbo. Another week, another exciting topic, and this time we go to renewable energy and we look at the productive use of renewable energy. Across Africa, the productive use of renewable energy is becoming a powerful tool for economic development, especially in agriculture. In Nigeria, up to 50% of fruits and vegetables are lost due to poor storage, costing farmers income and reducing food supply. But with solar-powered cold storage systems, spoilage is dropping significantly. The solar cold rooms, now active in 22 Nigerian states, have helped over 5,000 farmers extend its shelf life of their produce from 2 days to 21 days. They were able to achieve this because of course, leveraging renewable energy sources like solar. So our topic today is to deep dive into this productive use of renewable energy. Experts have also said that if we must sustain investment in renewable energy, we must be able to tie it to productive use. And that's the only way it can give it sustainable impact and, of course, sustainable use of that investment in the sector. So, if we don't have that habit to tie investment to productive use in renewable energy, we may not be able to see a lasting impact. And agriculture is one area that, is a perfect use case for productive use. Okay, we'll come back. This is our topic today, and my guest is one that will go into details and be able to tell us more. But first, as always, what's trending? What's in the news? Let's tell you what's been happening this week. NNPC expects 4 FID in 6 months. This was in the business day. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPC, has said it's making major investment commitment this year with 4 critical final investment decisions, FIDs expected before the end of 2025. In a first-of-its-kind report under Bayo Ojulare, the GCEO of NNPC, tagged NNPC Monthly Report Summary for April 2025, the state-owned oil company, energy company, said it plans to conclude 4 FIDs by the end of 2025. These FIDs, this investment they're looking into, will include in Nectocon Development, OML 102, the Crude Oil Production Expansion Project, OML 29, Gas Development Project, OML 30 and 42, and the long-anticipated Brass Fertilizer Project, all scheduled for final approval by Q4 2025. These projects are part of the broader strategy initiative by NNPCL to enhance production efficiency, increase revenue, and diversify Nigeria energy portfolio. Okay, good. The new GCU, I think, is putting in effort. I like how many experts in the industry continue to hail his appointment as the GCU of NNPCL. I think for the first time we're having an energy professional in the helm of affairs of NNPC and we want to see that translate into many revenues generation and investment for Nigeria. So this is good news, and this is what we had this week. All right. Nigeria's petrol import bill crashes by 54% in Q1 of 2025 as Dangote boosts local supply. I like how Dangote indeed is crashing these prices. So Nigeria's petrol import bill fell sharply in the first quarter of 2025, dropping to 1.76 trillion naira from 3.81 trillion recorded in the corresponding period of 2024. This represents 54% year-on-year decline according to the latest foreign trade statistics report from the National Bureau of Statistics. Dangote Refinery is doing amazing job, and we continue to see crashes. We continue to see things change within the downstream sector in Nigeria, and that's a good thing. Prices go down, citizens benefit. We're all happy. We go home excited. All right. What's trending again is Nigerian startup Sulfur Energy secures $1.3 million funding from All On to expand solar operations. I think this funding was also given in Naira, I think about 1 billion Naira, translating $1.3 million of that funding. So Sulfur has received 1.3 million investment from All On, a Shell-backed impact investor to scale its solar operations and deepen clean energy access across undeserved communities in Nigeria. This investment will support Sulfur's effort to expand its local solar assembly facility, enhancing its product offering and increase access to affordable and reliable electricity in off-grid communities. I know Sulfur, and I've been following their progress within the sector from $50,000 to today $1.3 million. That's significant progress. They've been working year on year, and the effort of the company is indeed commendable. They've now established an assembly plant, where they can now make solar home systems product. Amazing journey. I should get the CEO soon in the room to tell us more what's happening with that investment. All right, fix the base. Why Nigeria's power sector reform must begin with distribution. And this is another report we're following this week. It says if Nigeria is to achieve sustainable, efficient, and investor-friendly, power sector driven by private participation, reforms effort must start at the very base of the industry, which is the distribution. That's electricity distribution. Given the sector's pyramid-like structure, distribution at the base, followed by transmission and then generation, the performance of DISCOs, which is distribution companies, is critical to overall health of the industry. So, and they list many areas that we must, look at if we want to achieve this. And challenging, DISCOs really at the distribution end of the food chain is like funding inadequacy, rights, pricing challenges, significant customer prepaid metering gap, collection of difficulties, significant long-standing account, receivables, vandalization of distribution equipment, increased electricity theft. So if we can address some of these issues, and these experts are saying from the bottom of the food chain, we can be able to fix the problem upwards. These are all we have for you in the news. We'll go on a quick short break, and when we come back, we'll go into our conversation for today, productive use of renewable energy, and we'll narrow our focus to agriculture, really, and what's happening within there, and what is renewable energy really doing for us. When we say productive use case, what do we mean? All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlights. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time. Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say. Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
All right, thank you for staying with us and welcome back. This is the Energy Outlook, and we're discussing productive use of renewable energy. And my guest is in the studio. My guest is an expert, of course, in this field and has been working in the sector for quite a while. Running the company Ekotutu, if you've heard of it. They've been really productive in trying to bring solution to the, to the agricultural space and bringing solution in the cold chain field to try and solve this problem and give us, good produce and give productive use. All right. My guest is Babajide Oluwase, is CEO of Ekotutu. Babajide, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm happy we can do this again. I remember back a couple of, is it more than a year now, 2 years, we had this chat again. Mm-hmm. At that time, the company was still growing. Yes. How is Ekotutu?
Well, Ekotutu is fine. Well, I think the last time we met on a program like this was over 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think.
Then we just recently launched the operations within the Mal 12 markets.
Okay.
right? And
Okay.
I remember like most of the conversation was sort of centered around why mile 12,
Why mile
and
12, yeah.
what's the plan like from that point. And from that point to now, I'd say we've expanded to other states,
Yeah.
Nasarawa, Abuja.
How many states in total now?
So in total now we're operational now in 9 states.
In 9 states?
Yes.
Eko Tutu.
So the tutu has gone beyond.
Has gone beyond Eko.
Even though the name is Eko Tutu,
Nice.
right? Not Eko Tutu.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
but yeah, it's been growth, impact, expansion, enabling and
I
supporting.
saw the launch
businesses.
on my 12 market, a couple of months back. How is that project doing?
So my 12 market is doing great, and my 12 market was that sort of springboard
Okay.
that we leverage to now to expand to other markets. Right, like I said, they expanded to markets in Abuja, in Nasarawa, in Kaduna, and in the southwest, Ogun State, Oyo State, Osun State, and yes, with a lot more in the pipeline.
Fantastic. I'm happy for growth for entrepreneurs like you because it's not an easy one. All right, so let's start now by my first question really just to give people more understanding. When we say productive use, especially when it concerns renewable energy, what do we really mean? Productive use. It seems like most people don't understand the term, but I want you to give me, more clarity on it. What does it really mean? Productive use, and what we tie to renewable energy.
I mean, I like that when you wanted to mention productive use, there's this extra energy, like you have to stress
Yes.
that word, right? Productive use. So it's really about being able to maximize value,
Okay.
right? So you put in effort, the result that you get from that effort is tangible, right? It's significant, even in most cases, far greater than the effort that you put into it, right?
Okay.
So in cases where the effort you put into something and the result that you get out of it is not commensurate, like maybe the result or the outcome is way lower than the effort you put into it, then what that means is that it's unproductive,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
But in a case where it's productive means that you put this effort, you put one into this, you get two, right, in terms of results, in terms of outcome.
Okay.
And I think that's just like really a layman way I could describe or define what productive
But
means
in your experience, is it a concept that you feel like we now fully understand in the sector? What we say productive use, is it something you feel like it's a concept that there's now been clarity, everybody understands, investors, the companies, the communities? Do you think this is now a concept that is clear?
So in terms of clarity of the question of productive use, right, I think it's a concept that is gaining ground.
Okay.
Right? People are grappling with it, from customers to investors to even stakeholders that play across that sector, right? So they are grappling with the concept and understanding about productive use, right? And why? Because everyone is having that conversation about how do we double down effort? How do we ensure that the effort that we put into whatever sector, maybe it's in agriculture, it's in energy, or what have you, that effort is giving enough in terms of results, right? And that's one of those things that is driving the conversation around ensuring productive use, right, across board. How do we make this more productive? How do we make this more far-reaching, right? How do we make this more sustainable? How do we make it more viable over time? And that sort of points everyone back to that term, productive use, productivity, and everything in between.
Interesting. So talk to me about solar-powered cold rooms. This is something your company is driving. Your recent events, of course, gathered people, experts in the room to talk about, how they can really accelerate the use of solar cold rooms. So can you break down that concept, solar cold rooms or solar-powered cold rooms? What are you trying to say here now?
So the problem we're solving are like in different layers, multiple layers.
Okay.
On one side, there's a problem of post-harvest losses.
Yes.
Right? Right from when fresh produce are being harvested, they get transported from, say, the farm gates and then maybe to the market point, right? There's, of course, statistics all over the place speaking to how wastage is being experienced across board, right? So there's
That's in the agricultural sector.
in the agricultural sector. So there's a problem first of post-harvest losses, right? Which you can speak to the ripple effect of that, like from people losing their investments
Yes.
to people having loss in their expected return on investment, to environmental waste. Like, I mean, you have like perishable waste all over the place. That pollutes also the environment, environmental degradation, connected to global warming. And I think also there's a critical part, which is the people losing confidence, people sort of playing in that space as a business, losing confidence to remain and sustain that business. And you know what that means eventually.
Of course.
If most of these people leave the business, then our food security is
That will be
threatened.
a major problem.
Right? So that's the problem on one side. On the other side is the issue of, we've identified issue of post-harvest loss. Now we want to solve it. Refrigeration is one of the key solutions to solving the issue
solving
of
it.
post-harvest losses
Okay.
for perishables, right?
Okay.
I mean, in an ideal world, it will mean that you set up like refrigeration infrastructure from the farm gate to logistics to the market to the last mile, right? But we are not in the ideal world, right? Right.
So we are not in an ideal world.
In our own reality,
Okay.
that's a luxury because we don't have the energy to drive that.
We don't have power.
Yes, we don't have the energy to drive that. And for those that still sort of playing in that space, putting up the infrastructure, the cost of running the energy to drive that is hugely significant, right? Now in the era of subsidy removal across board, you know what that means?
Yeah.
Powering diesel or PMS or generator to provide cooling, right?
Yeah.
And so now it now begs the question also, how then do we be able to think sustainably to solve this problem, also from the energy standpoint, right?
Okay.
And that was what brought solar into the picture,
Okay.
right? Because solar, yes, has been proven time and times again that it's a veritable option or alternative that we can leverage to provide access to power,
Yeah.
right? And that's where the marriage sort of happened, right? We want to solve the problem of post-harvest losses. Cold chain and refrigeration has proven over time that
That
it
can
provides
solve that
solution,
problem. Okay.
but then where's the power, right? In a bid to answer the question, leveraging solar energy sort of comes into play, and then the marriage for solar-powered cold storage solutions.
So you're saying this is working now. Solar is powering this refrigeration system or refrigeration systems or cold rooms, and you are really achieving progress with this.
Yes, Eco22 has traction,
Okay.
and we've proven that it works. Eco22 has also been able to create value for businesses, right? So from the point of harvest to logistics side, to the market point, to the last mile. So through our suite of solar-powered cold chain solution, Eco22 has proven that it works. Eco22 has proven that we can also make this accessible even to the smallest of businesses that sort of play across the value chain.
So when we use solar-powered storage systems, are you saying effectively that this can help us cut down this post-harvest, food losses that we see? Is what you're saying, that when we leverage solar, we can achieve this, and this is working?
So what I'm saying is that it is already cutting it down,
Okay.
right? Businesses are already recording that impact,
Okay.
right? So they are already, in terms of wastage, they are slashing that number by 30%, right? In terms of their revenue and profits, they're also seeing the impact as well, to up to 30% on average for some of these businesses. And these are like small-scale businesses, medium-sized businesses, and even the large-scale businesses.
I'm going to ask this question like a layman, like I don't know what you're saying, which of course we get these questions a lot when solar is mentioned. So how would these cold rooms run when it is cloudy or when we have low sunlight, I mean, do they even work when that happens? Because I'm asking like I don't know. So, because that's the next question we get all the time when we talk about solar this, solar that. How are you able to address these questions?
So from a conventional solar-powered cold room side, that could be a challenge, right?
Okay.
In terms of when you have like continuous cloudy days, so you don't have enough power source to keep the system running. But from Eco22's cooling technology, right, we've been able to solve that and solve that for good.
Okay.
Throughout what we call the phase change cooling technology, right?
Phase change.
Phase change, right? So phase change is such that we're able to store bulk of this cooling energy, not just in the batteries, right? So there's a compartment within our solar cold rooms that helps to reserve cooling energy for longer days, right? So what this means is that, so when other conventional solar cold rooms are struggling on those cloudy days, our own phase change cooling technology enables us to be able to have even longer buffer time, right? Which also allows the batteries to get recharged, right?
Okay.
After a couple of days, when the cloudy days clears. And then the cold room system is able to depend on this compartment that we do a plug and play to this cooling infrastructure to make sure that it keeps running and it keeps it within the required temperature range.
Okay, so you're saying that even the technology you have is not the conventional regular one. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's one of the differences that we bring to the table, right?
Okay.
And that's also one of the practical ways that we're demonstrating that solar system works, but you just need to be able to find efficient ways around it. And that's what Ikotutu has done.
So when it's cloudy and when it's rainy, walk me back again. What happens to the system? Where is the power going to? Because the batteries need to charge. Or you don't use batteries?
So we do use batteries, right? So again, the typical is, like you said, the layman way, typical, like the sun hits your PV panels.
Yeah, from the panel.
Yes, it goes
to the battery.
It goes to the battery.
Okay.
Then from your battery, there's an inverting system in some cases that converts and then maybe transport the energy to the system for it to run, and then it keeps some in the battery, right?
That's the conventional.
That's the conventional one, right? So within the Ikotutu proprietary system is that as the energy goes into the battery, right, the sun that hits the PV panels is also automatically charging the phase change side of the system.
Interesting.
Right? So think about it like ice battery, right? And that compartment is just sort of freezing up.
Okay.
Right? So it's freezing up as the sun hits the system, powers the freezing side, it freezes up, and then it keeps that energy right within that compartment.
Okay.
Right? In cases where the system, say at night or on cloudy days where the battery does not have enough power to supply the cooling chamber, then the phase change compartment provides the needed cooling, ensuring that it maintains the range that you've set. Because you can also, you sort of can play around that, set the range of temperature that you want, whatever Celsius that you want to have within your cold room compartment. So you can change that, and the energy comes from the phase change compartment side of things.
Interesting. This is a bit very technical.
Yes, I mean, I try not to get into the technical side of things as much as possible.
And this is what you have in the 9 states.
Yes, this is what we deploy across the hubs where we operate.
What I want to give us like a practical success story you've really from all of this, because what I get from this is if we use this kind of technology now, we're able to save a lot of money, helping farmers moving their goods from the farm to the market and be able to sell. So we're ensuring food security. I mean, that's the entire concept of productive use in the first place. And in the middle of all of this, there's a solar-powered cold room, powered by solar, that is helping us to drive this, But I mean, I'm sure I've put that concept already clearly. So, but I wonder, what are the success stories you've achieved so far from going to some of these markets? Or is it only markets you've been deploying some of these things in?
So yeah, before I get to the success story, so I'll speak about the model. So we run 2 models, right? So the first model is that we deploy in markets, right? And that sort of speaks to one of the reasons why we started Ikotutu in the first place, right? It's about providing access to people or businesses that ordinarily might not be able to access these sort of solutions because they might need to buy it for them to access it, but they can't afford it, right? And that speaks to why we started, one of the reasons why we started the business in the first place.
Okay.
In markets, what typically happens is these small businesses will typically bring their produce, mostly in plastic crates, right? And then they can rent a space and pay per crate per day, right? So for horticultural produce, they pay as little as 250 naira for a crate to store a crate of produce for a day, right? So in cases where they are storing bulks or stuff for an extended period of time, we always can have that conversation and see what really works in terms of pricing. The second model is that we build and sell this solution as well, right? So businesses that can afford it, right? So they want to own their own cooling infrastructure. They want to be able to control it. They want to be able to have access to it at any time. So we build and sell to those kind of the markets, right? And I mean, as you can imagine, that's like where because like a cash and carry kind of thing. So we deploy, they pay, they will help also in terms of maintenance. So those are the 2 models that we run. In terms of impact or success story of changes that we've made in the lives of very people, I'll speak on the cooling as a service side, right? The ones that we have in markets, right? And I'll speak of one of the traders, say a market in Nasarawa, right? What she does is that she'll take horticultural produce from suppliers when they bring it. Before I set up within the Nasarawa market, What she would typically do is she would typically buy between 5 to 7 crates of vegetables. So it's a mix of tomatoes, pepper, and the likes. Knowing that within 3, 4, 5 days, that's the time frame that she'll be able to sell all those produce, right? Yes, the traditional way she was doing it before we came into the picture was she would have to put them in moisturized places, put leaves on them, just to make sure that at least they're preserved.
Yeah, they're
She's
preserved.
able to sell it. And even with that, there's times that she's unable to sell the 5, 7 crates, right? At the time, they keep in baskets, raffia baskets, right?
Okay.
She's unable to sell it. And then when we came into the picture, and she now realized that she has a buffer,
Okay.
right? From her 7, she went on to 15. From 15, she went on to
And this
30.
buffer is a solar-powered cold room.
It's a solar-powered cold room that was set up in the Sabongida market,
Okay.
right, in Nasarawa State. What this did for her was that in case I don't sell off all of this, I don't have to worry.
Okay. You
Right,
have somewhere.
So Ego Tutu's solar cold room close to her, within that cluster, is there to take in for her to store, right? And then you see this person grew from 7 baskets to now doing over 50 crates,
Wow.
right, of produce, right? There are even times that we as a company now, so because again, we also want to understand what does this business need. Most importantly, that they want to sell, they want to make their money,
Yeah.
and they rinse and repeat and grow the business, right? And so we now even took that up by way to start looking out for off-takers, right? Oh, are there businesses that want to buy fresh vegetables, right? We could do a
So
linkage.
you take that on to look for off-takers now
Exactly.
for that business.
Exactly. So it's one of the value add that we also bring to the table. Like, hey, if you store in Ekututu cold storage facility, there's also the option of potential market linkage, right? We know someone or we know a business that wants to buy fresh produce, right? You already deal in retail fresh produce, right? It's about getting the right pricing. And then we broker that deal, and it's a win-win for everyone.
Interesting.
Right? And then we've seen this also sort of pique the interest of the businesses, and they want to work more and more with us.
Amazing. I like this is impact. I mean, see, she's growing from 7 to 15 to 50.
Yep.
That's impact. Now, you can't be the only one doing this. What support are you getting from the sector itself? There are not many people doing, cold rooms, solar-powered cold rooms. I mean, from last I checked, you might be the second person I know doing this. What kind of sectoral support are you getting? Is there a community that is driving this? How do you work together? Only you, our food security in this country will be challenged. You can't take up all the markets.
I agree. So obviously more than 2. In fact, more than 10.
Really?
Of course, maybe I know them because I'm tracking them.
Okay, so as your own competitors.
Exactly. So pardon you for not realizing that.
Okay.
But, I mean, there are quite a number of players in the space. But in terms of sectoral support, I think all of us are somewhat coming to the realization that the problem is far bigger than us.
Yes.
Right? And we need to find ways to work together. Right? Because, again, it goes beyond just having solar cold room deployed across board. There are other supporting infrastructure that needs to be in place.
Okay.
And that in most cases, it's not a responsibility to take, right? You have decentralized cold rooms across key points. They are connected by roads, right? If the roads are in terrible conditions, you know what happens to your cooling trucks, right? That will need to move from point A to B. If the road is that bad, it affects the truck, it affects the vehicle. Then it means that this truck might not be able to move the produce from the farm gate to your storage facility. And you know what that means for your business? Underutilized, right? So realizing that, I mean, I'm aware from the government side that there's a lot of efforts ongoing, trying to galvanize the needed infrastructure from road to, even for the electricity or energy side. There's also a lot of play going on from the mini-grid side, right? So meaning that we might not essentially have to integrate solar power in all of the cold rooms that we deploy, right? So in cases where you come into a community and let's say solar mini-grid already exists, right? Which also is a very good example or talk point for productive use of energy conversation, right? In a community where you already have like solar mini-grid that exists, you could plug your cold room to the power source. What would that do? That means that the cost of deploying that cold room drops, right? It also means that you would pay for every energy that you get from that community to drive that cooling infrastructure. And it means that you can pay more for energy usage within that community.
Interesting.
Right? So beyond the community mini-grid operator getting payment from maybe lightning, or small shops, it means that they can also make some significant returns from such infrastructure within that community. So yes, I know, aware that there's a lot of effort going on, but we need it to materialize.
Okay, so
right?
it is not yet
Yeah,
materializing.
it doesn't yet materialize. For example, I mean, I know from the federal government standpoint, some road construction projects are tied towards ensuring food security in Nigeria, for example. For example, the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, there's that one of that objective for that road. So beyond moving people, it's also critical for moving
And
food.
do you see that now? I mean, because do you see that Ibadan Expressway is helping with
Yeah,
this?
because it means that the truck coming from, say, Kano or Kaduna, bringing tomatoes, for example, as I'm sure, like for the Lagos, once it gets on that road, I mean, the road it's in a very durable condition that it can easily get to Lagos without saying, oh, somewhere along that link, it got bad and they're stuck there for a day or two, right? So that's one of the critical infrastructure that it's required. Stakeholder-wise, there's the cold chain body as well called Otakwa. That's Organization for Technology for Cold Chain in West Africa.
How many members are in that body?
Well, I know probably over 100.
100?
But it's not just for cold room developers alone.
Okay.
Other like ancillary service providers are also connected to it. Because again, the cold chain it's
broad.
It's a broad system, so it goes beyond having cold room and then say you solve cold chain.
Okay.
So yes.
All right. All right, we will go on a quick break. When we come back, I have a few more questions for Babajide. This sounds really good, but how do you finance it? Where are you getting the money from? Where are others getting the money from? Is the money coming at all? Because all of this needs some financing. And other questions I have for Babajide. Stay with us. We'll go on a quick break, and we'll be back shortly.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlights. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time. Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, lives a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
All right, welcome back. And this is the Energy Outlook Live from Lagos. Okay, So I've been chatting with Babajide Oluwase, who is the CEO of Eco Tutu. Eco is CEO. Tutu, that's Tutu, not CKO. Am I correct, Babajide? All right. So my next question to you, I mean, we've been discussing productive use case, and which I think I've learned a few things already. I wanted to ask now. This looks like a heavy financial driven project. If you ever want to do it, how have you been able to raise funds for this, and where do you get money from?
Well, I mean, I'm still looking for the money.
Are you sure?
Yes, of course. So, where do we get the money from?
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, we run two models,
Okay.
right? So, the model one is that we deploy at key food points, markets, at farm gates, and we'll provide cooling as a service,
Okay.
right? That enable us charge small, right, per case per day. The second model is that we build and sell outrightly. So it means that we're able to cushion that impact of financial flow in the business through that. So identify businesses that can afford to pay to own their own solar powered cold storage, right?
Okay.
And then we'll build to that,
Okay.
right? We also leverage the support of development financing.
Okay.
We leverage debt financing as well,
Okay.
right? So build, deploy, and then we can recoup the investment.
All right.
over time.
Let me hold you there a bit. We'll go on a quick break, and when we come back shortly, we'll continue.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlights. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
All right, welcome back. So, Babajide, you were telling me about financing. You say there are different models, of the business that's already. Do you want to just go over that again?
So, in terms of models, Eco2 run two models. The first model is that we deploy the solar-powered cold rooms at key food points, right? Farm gates, major markets, where we provide cold storage as a service to the small businesses within the market. And they pay small, right, for them to access the storage space on a daily basis.
Okay.
The second model is that we build and sell this same solar-powered cold room to businesses that can afford it, right? And are businesses that want to own their own cold chain infrastructure, right? And that's how we've been able to sort of cushion the impact. Because for the cooling as a service model, it means that once you deploy, you need to wait it out for a certain period, right, before you can make back your return on investment, right? And then as a business, we're able to keep it going from the outright sales and deployments to businesses that can afford it, right? We also leverage on debt financing as well to be able to deploy in certain areas and then recoup the investment over a period. Right now, we are exploring different collaborative financing models that would help us be able to accelerate, because that's the point we're in now.
Is this something that is open sector-wide, or this is just your effort, or is this something that the sector itself sort of can able to leverage?
So there's a sector effort ongoing, right? So down to the federal government side, to even some government agencies like NSIA, REA, and the likes. So there are some large effort going on in that regard. And from a company side as well, of course, we are engaging financiers, right, on a business-to-business arrangement such that they could finance these assets.
Okay.
Other businesses could take them more easily than they would be able to do, and then be able to pay for it over a period. So a case where the solar cold room itself would now be the assets, right? So asset financing for this business to adopt and be able to plug in this infrastructure to grow their own business.
How is adoption like with the farmers? You know, how aware are they that there's a solution like this? From your experience, what have you seen? And what is your projection to when we can have like a really full-blown, awareness of this sort of technology powered by solar helping farmers? Because I asked this question as I think about our food security as a country. If we are seeing decline, if we are concerned on food security, we need to put in measures, because I don't hear a lot from government really around deploying solar-powered, systems or cold chain. Maybe it's just me, but I don't hear a lot of it. So I'm worried if this kind of sector is getting that awareness. Do farmers know, or we're just giving fertilizers, to farmers? We're not caring how their crops are getting to market. What have you seen in adoption and awareness to farmers about this technology?
So in terms of awareness, I would say we are progressing.
Okay.
There's still a lot more work that needs to be done, right? From when we started to now, for us as a business, we've been able to impact up to 5,000 of these individuals. That's a significant
that's like
push.
a drop in the ocean.
It's a drop in ocean, but for every one of them, there's a connection to other farmers and retailers that also would have learned about the value of cold chain adoption or integration in their business. But that being said, there's also something that we need to also understand. Farmers typically, say the small-scale farmers, all they care about is they want to harvest their produce and sell, right? They don't really care as much about like storage or cold chain. For them to start thinking really about whether it's solar powered or not. So that wider scale of small-scale farmers just want to harvest their produce and sell. And that's where there's the part of aggregation in that mix. People call some of them middlemen, but they play a critical role in that mix. They understand the market. They understand the farmers, right? They're able to aggregate produce from these farmers in larger bulk and then supply the market. And that's how, as a business, we are going about it. Engaging these aggregators, of course, connecting...
Okay, you yourself, you're not an aggregator yet.
So, yes, so we provide the infrastructure, the cold chain infrastructure. That's where we play right now. So, but at different point where we're able to provide linkage services, of course, we do that, right, to support the businesses that use our solutions, right? But that's how we're sort of going about. So, through the aggregators now, we're now like enlightening the farmers, but because we can't wait. We can't wait as a business to keep educating and enlightening them. We also need to think about the business, right? So as the business gains more ground, the easier, because we are consciously also putting efforts to further educate the market, right? And that's also where the collaborative effort comes into play, right? So doing this with other players in the space, doing this with other not just cold chain providers now, even the aggregators themselves, even the farmers, small, large, and medium scales, government, the national, the subnationals, input providers, financiers, collaboratively, we are working together to ensure that the message goes beyond just increasing production of produce to providing the needed infrastructure to get it fresh to your customers.
This brings my next question now. Where do you get your solar panels from? And your technology, is it built in country? Because that, again, is another cost in itself. I've always, I'm always of the opinion that if we can make these things in country, we also increase the cost. Where do you get your solar panels from? How do you source for them?
So where do we get it to this point? We get it from local suppliers, right? From our own chosen manufacturers. So they are like chosen manufacturers that we work with, but they have local suppliers that we work with. But something interesting is unfolding for us, right? There's a company here that is into 100% solar PV manufacturing, right here in Lagos, right? And we're about to put pen to paper, right, to now be of taking these solar panels from them, right? And that's how we're very much conscious about ensuring that we're able to explore local options and opportunities First, of course, to bring down costs and also to be able to help the sector really grow, right?
Okay.
As of today, our deployments, equipment, and components, we source about 75% of it locally,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And the 25% is what we import.
Okay. So there's a forex or FX bit of what comes into everything.
Exactly. I mean, that used to be, for you to like understand that level of progress, like some 2-3 years ago, that used to be about 45-50%, right, that we import. And now we've been able to slash off 25% to 30% off that, right,
Okay.
with continuous effort to still further take that down to possibly 100%. Yes, I would believe that's possible because now having the energy side of it being covered by a local partner, the cold room partners also being taken care of by local partners, the cooling technology components that we need and that we can assemble and build locally, we're also able to.
As we wrap up, I want to talk about. I read your article on WERF on this productive use. In fact, that's what inspired this conversation in the first place. And so beyond agriculture, can you give us or highlight other productive use of renewable energy that can really work for us as a country?
So before I go into giving you such examples, again, I'll remind our listeners, right? Productive use of energy in this case means that what can we use energy for that would bring back returns, right? That is viable over a period of time, beyond just having access to lightning or being able to get a cooling fan at home or being able to watch TV for entertainment. What other functions can we deploy renewable energy for to bring value back to individuals or businesses?
Okay.
Having said that, right, look around every businesses in your neighborhood. You don't even need to look far. The barber shop close to your house, such barber switching to solar energy to power his barbering business, that's a productive use. Because it then means that he won't need to have to fuel generator for him to be able to get his business running, right? And he's able to save that fuel costs when he adopts solar, for example, over a period of time.
Okay.
Think about the fashion designer on your street, right? Depending on solar energy, right, renewable energy to run or power a business without having to leverage on generator, it's also another form of productive use of energy. Think about it. There are myriads of things that you would think about that energy is required for. Maybe the very popular ones, those are charge phones in the market, right? It's productive use of energy because it charges the phone. People can do businesses with their phone. It gets paid for charging the phone, and then it goes on. And this can be adapted to other sectors, welding, furniture, and carpentry. And these are, I'm really giving like examples of businesses that are close to home. You cannot take it beyond that to even larger scale businesses. Manufacturing, for example, right? Plants that would leverage on solar energy to run their businesses.
All right, I think that's a fine place to leave the conversation. Babajide, thank you so much for making that time to join us. And we hope that this, of course, has provided insight to many people who have been thinking around the area. And I wish Ekotutu all the best. Growth upon growth. I'll come back in another 2 years and see what's happening.
You might not want to wait till up to 2 years because what you see in 6 months might shock you.
Okay. We'll stay with you then and see how that is going. But Babajide Oluwase, CEO, Ekotutu, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you for having me.
And please, we want to have you back again soon.
I sure would come back.
All right, thank you, everyone. I mean, this has been a very useful conversation. And in case you missed this, you can watch a replay of this episode on our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. And other episodes of the Energy Outlook, you can catch them on our YouTube channel. Every week, same station, same time, we bring you very, important conversations around the energy sector on how we're leveraging and using this to better our everyday life. My name is Wisdom Chap Jumbo, and that's a fine place to leave it. Until next week, I see you again.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, an in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.